Hey everybody, welcome back to Andromeda. Today I'm going to show off one new area as a pretty cool environmental effect, which is a large part of what I've been working on since the last update that I made. And I should point out, it's actually pretty exciting. Well, first I'll show you this. When we walk into this area, it's pretty dark. And if we talk to this person, they're very curious about us. But they kind of make a suggestion, which is I should conjure my own light. I guess if that's the case, I'll just do it. Boom. I have sort of an impromptu lighting system in place, and which means, well, there's a dark area. This is it. This is the crypt south of town. If I go in here, oh, I can't see a whole lot wandering around. Oh my goodness, it's a skeleton. You'll notice he's actually animated now. I have a system for having animated enemies. It makes them seem a lot better. If I charge up a little more, I can cast a bigger light spell and it'll make it much easier to fight this guy. Maybe I can do a little bit of this. I also already ran through and grabbed some pretty good gear from some of these areas. So these fights might be a little easier than they should be. But I just wanted to be able to show off some of the content without having to work too hard to stay alive. I keep flubbing spells. This should take them out probably. Oh, nope. There we go. Also, I had to nerf haste because it still speeds up your motion, your movement, which is really useful. But it used to also speed up how quickly you channeled energy, which basically meant you should have it on all the time. Now it kind of is only necessary to use when you need to move quickly. Around these skeletons, I don't necessarily need to. Also, you can see my lights fading over time. And while my spells are always very bright, if I let it go out completely, it's kind of cool because you can see the skeletons sort of stalking you through the effect. But anyway, light would be very helpful here so that I don't die. These skeletons also have some armor, so you're kind of rewarded for using high damage spells on them. You know, like single big damage things instead of lots of little projectiles. Sort of like this. Well, that's not terribly bad, but just keep bobbing and weaving and refreshing my light spell. Kill a couple of these guys and then I'll show off the boss. Anyway, I was going to say this whole area, and really every area in the game that currently exists, is basically going to get redone. The exciting news is that I have someone else who may be working on the project with me who wanted to come in and do the storyline, and I think they'll also be able to do some level design to sort of offload some of that so I can work more on developing new features and making all the enemies and things, and then they can actually go to work laying it out. The reason was I was never very concerned with story, but there's a very large player base that does like story, and people were a little appalled to hear that I wasn't planning any major story in the game. So this way it'll sort of get taken care of and I don't have to worry about it too much. Okay. So because I expect all these areas to be redone, they're not totally finished. This kind of, and I'll run past these guys. This is a sort of a dead end right now. It would end up leading to my next major area, but there is a new boss if we head over here. Trying to clue off people to the fact that because there's lots of dead bodies over this way, that something terrible might be in this room. And here he is, sort of the phantom skull. It's got like a whole bunch of movement patterns that I planned out, and if you pay attention, you can kind of get used to the fight and know what he's going to do at any particular moment. The only big thing I pay attention to is when he starts circling like this, he's about to dive in at you, and that's a good time to dodge. You'll also notice, as I'm attacking him, there's not a whole lot of big damage numbers coming off of him. I'm doing significantly less damage to him than I was doing to anything else. And The reason is because he's a very high armor enemy. He has a lot of defense, so a lot of the damage that's you do deal to him would be absorbed. However, there's a little trick to this, which is anytime you get hit by one of his attacks, you get a buff, which makes you deal considerably more damage. I think it's triple damage right now, but because of the way armor works, it's significantly more than just triple. So instead of 34, I might do 400 damage. So I get hit here. Oh yeah, that was 60. Doesn't last super long. So it's sort of supposed to be a fight where I can push him around a little bit too. You have to take a little bit of damage to deal some damage. So being high level is pretty helpful. So aiming correctly is pretty much always helpful at any stage of the game. He stops on a dime too. If I was hitting him and doing the whole strategy correctly, he wouldn't be that bad. So let's see if I can finish him off. Luckily, I'm high level here. And if you've been paying attention, most of his attacks will deal about 10 damage to me. But this fire here does not deal very much damage, just 1 damage per second. So it's really the safest way for me to go and get this buff that's sort of needed for things. So try to make it a little bit of a puzzle boss. When he dies, and items don't look too great on the ground, but he drops another helm. For some reason, I'm making all bosses drop helms, and this is sort of supposed to make me look like a little bit of a skeleton. I did that by hand, so might not be the greatest. I'm not a super artist. And then the only other thing is I'm sort of getting started on making an equipment menu. For now, you can just see what you have equipped at any particular time, but eventually there's going to be an inventory, and you'll be able to swap gear around when you need to from this menu. And then here's the old spellbook menu. So that's it. There might be a lull in new content as we sort of get everything ramped up, as I get my designer going with the project, and as we start getting rid of these old areas and remaking them the way we need to fit a storyline purpose. All right, thanks for watching.